Hey, it's Chase from On the Table Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about a new scenario available for A Song of Ice and Fire the Miniatures game tournament play, A Dance with Dragons. Okay, so out of the five game modes that we have, we're going to be talking about A Dance with Dragons, the newest tournament-approved A Song of Ice and Fire the Miniatures game mode. And now this is a really interesting mode, okay? So you've got long-range deployment, and you've got three objectives in the center of the map, A, B, and then C over here on the side. So now the thing is, each of those tokens is going to have a special element to it. Objective A, when you score points from this objective, you may have one enemy combat unit become vulnerable and weakened. Objective B, while controlling this objective, this unit's melee attacks gain sundering, so -1 to their defense saves. And you get vicious. Defenders suffer -2 to their panic tests. However, your unit suffers D3 wounds after completing any melee attacks. And then you got Objective C. When you claim this objective, target one enemy NCU. While you control this objective, that NCU loses all abilities. Now, each of these objectives in their own is kind of an interesting element to this mode. But the real kicker is that when you get on the objective, you pick up the objective. It goes on your tray, and it moves with your unit. Now, I know you're thinking, great, here come the all-cav lists that are going to be riding around and just grabbing objectives and running away. Well, when you have the objective token, you may never march, and your speed is reduced to 2, and that's important. It's not reduced by 2, it's reduced to 2. So cavalry can still use their maneuver, so they can move, basically twice, but it's going to be both times their speed is 2. So you can maneuver 2, and then you could move 2, but you can't march. So a unit can only control one objective, and there are some other elements that are important to note. When you're holding an objective and you make a panic test, if you fail, the objective goes from you to an enemy engaged with you. So if an enemy's fighting you and they force you, maybe through something even like Lannister supremacy, to take a panic test and you fail, it's going to bounce the objective back to them. So it's sort of like a give and take, back and forth going on. And you only start scoring at the end of round 2, but your army commanders get +1 additional victory point when scoring. So you're going to really want to think about, okay, what are the sorts of characters that you maybe want to be taking into this battle? Who can really take and hold an objective as your commander? So maybe it's Robb Stark, the Wolf Lord, with Wolf Cunning. When an enemy in long range declares a charge, it's a disorderly charge. You can do things to kind of keep your guys alive. Even Brendan Tully, the Blackfish, even though he's a cavalry commander, Blackfish Resolved, every time you pass a morale test, you restore 1 wound, but you also get +2 to your morale test, so they can get to the objective fast, they can hold it, and you won't be bouncing it over to the opponent as easily. Ramsay Snow, of course, with the Bastard of Bolton, being able to order flay them all. When an enemy engaged with this unit fails a panic test, one other enemy within long range of that unit must make a panic test, so you can sort of force chain reactions to have people kick over their objectives. Tywin Lannister, adding Lannister supremacy in. Jon Snow, just for being a tough commander who can sit there in a Veterans of the Watch unit and get healed up and keep his unit alive. And then Mance Rayder for the free folk, right? Giving that bubble of morale and then screening them with your units so people can't get to them. All of those are interesting options. And I think this scenario is going to have a lot of success in the tournament scene because each of the objectives can really be used to shut down and affect different armies in different ways. So, for example, Objective B, you get those bonuses, right? The sundering and the vicious, but you're taking damage. So do you want to put your most powerful unit there when you know that they're going to be, you get your 9-point unit, but you know that they're going to be taking so many wounds? Maybe that's not a great idea. So there's some really interesting choices that you might want to have to put there. When you've got Objective C targeting a enemy NCU, shutting it down. Objective C, that's going to really hurt the Night's Watch. They are really NCU dependent, and that can be brutal. So maybe that's something they have to rush out there, and they've got to make sure they control that. And then Objective A, one enemy becomes vulnerable and weakened. That's always useful. To be able to put out condition tokens is key. So that could be another component, and each different faction is going to want to control different objectives, and therefore It's going to be contested in different ways. I think this is going to be an amazing tournament map. So if you're at home playing, make sure you get your time in now practicing on this map so that when you do get to more competitive play, you're ready to go. As far as scenery deployments, I mean, impassable terrain, you might want to think about blocking off certain approaches early on, but you can't put the token within 2 inches of impassable terrain. Can't be like blocked off that way. So, as long as you keep it somewhat blocked up, you can slow them down. But this is going to become, I think one of the gold standards. And I really am happy that they're going into this sort of like carry the objective around, like kind of almost like capture the flag, moving the positions sort of play. And I'm looking forward to more scenarios like this going forward in the future. So take your time, test this map out. Let us know in the comments below. How do you play this? How do you build lists for this? And I hope you get your miniatures on the table.